Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special edition this evening of When the Shift Hits the Fan. My name is Mark Jeffrey, and I'm here again with my beautiful co-host, Linda Lehman. Okay, we talked about this this past week, about going back in time and telling you a little bit about where we came from, and we decided that we would maybe tell you the darker side of the things that happened in our lives that really accumulated in basically making some, for me, pretty life-changing alterations in my life. And I want to talk about me and what happened tonight, and next week we'll share Linda's story. I'm going to give you a little backup or background, I guess, on this. Is that at the time this happened, it was the year of 1999, and it happened to be the worst year of my life. And I guess you could also say the best year of my life because, A, I survived it, and again, it changed my life in remarkable ways. But it was hard getting there. It was a year-long journey that. At the same time that this was going on for me, my mom was really sick, and she had a lot of things going on, and my daughter was 16, with all the angst of being 16 that you can possibly imagine. So that in itself, on top of what I'm going to tell you about, was made it a very difficult year for me. Now, it started in 1998. But I didn't know. I had no clear indication of what was going on. But I'll tell you, that winter I was having really bad back pain. Actually, it was a pain in my side in 1998, and I just couldn't relieve the pain. I couldn't figure out what it was, and actually, I was pretty much sleeping in my bathtub because the pain was so much to be able to sleep on a mattress. I just couldn't do it. So I would get in the bathtub and float there and doze off until the water got cold, and then I'd fill it up again. And I spent a lot of time, months, doing this because no one was helping me. Nobody could figure out what was wrong. It just didn't make sense to them, and I'm not a doctor, so I couldn't make sense of it myself. I was actually working at that time 2 jobs. I was working a complete full daytime job, and as well as I was still managing nightclubs, and raising my daughter. So a lot of things were going on and looking after my mom. So we'll start off with that. Then on January 7th of 1999, I was referred to a urologist, and I can't, even going back in this, I can't even remember why that was. I guess it was the pain, the way the pain was coming, and my general practitioner thought, it was something like this. And although at the time you would think I'd clue in, I just couldn't put those 2 things together. But again, I'm like most of you. I thought, well, doctors know best, right? So I went to see this doctor, best in his field purportedly. He was an older gentleman, had been in this profession for many, many years. In fact, he even has a street named after him. I won't name names, but wasn't a good idea. So January 7th, I go to see him, and then January 13th, he sends me to the hospital for an X-ray and pelvic scan and whatnot. And I go back to see him on February 9th, and he, really, doesn't have many answers for me, kept asking me questions. And I think at the time I was really just answering them, like, is the pain radiating down your leg, different things like that. And I'm going, dude, pain's everywhere. Like, how do you pinpoint this? But I'm going, yeah. So he puts me in the hospital on February 10th. And decides that he's going to do a biopsy, or he's going to put me in the hospital and put me under and take a look at my kidney because he saw growth there. And so when I went under, it was like, we're going to take a biopsy and then, we'll see what's going on from there. So I'm going, okay, what could be bad about that, right? But when I woke up, I had a 9-inch scar and was told that a growth had been removed from my left kidney and that everything's fine. It had no cancer. The pathology was good. And I'm, okay, great. I should be feeling better any time. That didn't happen. I wasn't feeling good after this, but I just thought, okay, I have a 9-inch scar and I can't bend and I can't move. And, if you know anywhere, about the muscles, and I know, Linda, you will, and when you've got things like that, it's hard to move. But again, I have a daughter to raise. I have to go back to work. So I'm just doing it. And so then on February 22nd, I went to see a gynecologist because there was just weird things going on, still having this pain. And gynecologist going, no, my pap smear is good. I don't know, maybe it's just, getting a little older, maybe just a little heavier flow. We'll keep an eye on it and we'll go from there. Then I started getting heart palpitations. And I'm going, okay, like what the heck? So March 8th, I was sent to a cardiologist. And nope, your heart's fine. We don't know what's going on. So I went through a few other trips to the hospital, hemorrhaging, told I had a miscarriage, told I had an STD. I think I had every disease known to mankind, but nothing was going anywhere. So on April 23rd, I was sent for an MRI. And still nothing. Nope, everything looks fine. I'm thinking by now I'm a hypochondriac and I'm just making stuff up. So May 4th, I go to a gastro guy because of all of this internal stuff, and he goes, I don't even know the name, diverticulitis or whatever the heck that is, and yeah, you got a touch of that, and you'll be fine, we'll just change your diet. And I'm going, oh, okay. May 4th, I go to another doctor. Oh no, May 12th. May 4th, I went to the gastro guy. May 12th, another doctor. And he's just going, there seems to be a lot of weird things. And this guy was an older gentleman, an older doctor at a Medi-Center. And I was just kind of fit to be tied. I'm going like, I just don't know what's going on, but I can't get in to see these doctors. You have to be referred to see these specialists, and they're kind of giving up on me, telling me I should be just fine. So this doctor examines me, and, he's just going, well, I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be anything wrong. But in the meantime, my kidney's having problems. I'm not urinating properly, and I feel like it's infected. I'm just not feeling good. So I end up in the hospital on June 3rd, and they have to do another operation on my kidney. Now, June 4th was my daughter's grad, and I missed it. Even today, I'm angry because this didn't have to happen, and I missed her grad, and she was 16. So I actually had my girlfriend do her hair and makeup, and a guy friend please take a camera and take some pictures for me. So they had this, and they said everything was fine. They put in a stent and, pump up the volume on that. And then July 5th, it still wasn't happening for me. So I went back to the same doctor, and he put me in the hospital again on July 7th. So on July 7th, I was inserted with a bag that attached to my back that would collect my urine for me. Something that you see on people that are very, very old when they can't be operated on. And I'm going to tell you something. This is a very dangerous operation that he did. It goes through your spine, different things where your nerve endings are. You have to be totally still, like stop breathing while we're putting this into you, and stuff like that. And I walked around. I thought, here I am, this young age, and I'm thinking, okay, this is the way it's got to be. And it just was ridiculous, right? You're sitting there listening to it going, what the hell's wrong with this woman? Why didn't she get some help? Trust me, I was trying to. But I was also believing in what doctors were telling me. And that's why a lot of you, when you get a second, third, fourth opinion, if it does not feel right, you seriously need to get somebody else's opinion on it. I waited too long. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm the first one to admit that. I paid huge price for that. So if me telling this story tonight can help anybody just not make the mistakes I did, it's enough for me. So July 26th comes along and they decide to relieve the pain in my back, I need physio. Well, the one thing that physio did is it actually moved the tumors that were growing inside my uterus and my cervix and made them explode. Really, that's what happened. They just exploded, and I started hemorrhaging more. I still went to the doctor, and and this is where I normally kind of start this story, is that I was sitting there and in the hospital with them telling me again that it must have been a miscarriage. And me now connecting things going, okay, I don't care who you are, but you have to have sex to get pregnant, and that just didn't happen. So you're wrong. Something else is happening. But here's an interesting thing that I've never talked about before right now. During this time, I don't even know a good way to put this, but I was being seduced by death. As I lost blood, and I was losing a ton of blood every day. I don't even know how my body was remanufacturing it enough to keep me going. Nobody to this day can tell me why I was still standing. But it felt peaceful. It was seductive to just let the blood flow. Just let it go. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had my daughter, I might not be here talking to you today. It took me a lot of years to come to that realization of what, because people ask me all the time, what was the turning point, Marq? And I don't know. To this day, I still don't know what it is. It's just, I went in and I made a deal with the devil to just give me a couple more years with my daughter. And I think, my sole focus. And so between July 26th and the long weekend, here I am sitting in the hospital on a long weekend, no doctors around, nobody to help me, and along comes the gynecologist that had actually delivered my daughter, who had told me that he would help me. Okay, so I've gone, 6-7 months, and I'm almost bleeding to death every day. And I'm still working. I'm still raising my daughter. I'm still looking after my mom. Okay? So here we are. So August 16th, I go in for more tests. And that's when Dr. Unger tells me that, Marq, you have cancer, sweetie. And I don't know how bad this is, but I've never seen anyone still standing in your condition. And I don't know how you're standing there, but I need you to keep standing there. And I need you to give me some time. So he connected with the Cross Cancer, and they sent me for some more testing. And then there was the problem, because they didn't know if the damage that was done to my kidneys if I could have chemotherapy. And there was no other alternative for me, not at this stage in the game. Maybe had it happened earlier, I could have done many more things. But at this stage of the game, radiation, chemotherapy were going to be the only things that I could do. And that one hope was fading fast. But my little kidney, my right kidney said, I'll do it for you. I'll get better. And somehow it did. The infection was gone, and it cleared the radiation that they put in the pellet. It cleared it. Record time. And so I could have chemotherapy. And then August 18th, I was at the Cross Cancer, and they actually confirmed everything. The doctor there, Dr. Percy, walked in and said, it's stage 4, and we're sorry, but we don't have a treatment for this. And as some of you may have heard, it says, well, we'll keep you comfortable. We'll give you some good drugs and try to relieve the pain, and we'll help you. So I was in there from the 24th to the 26th at the Cross Cancer while they tried to fix this up. And then the 27th had a CT scan. And then on September 8th, a week later, I had to go into the hospital again because the chemotherapy and the radiation was raising havoc with my poor little kidney that was trying so hard to help me out. And then September 9th, I was back at the Cross Cancer again while they tried to map things and work things out. And again, I somehow walked in there and said, I just need you to believe in me. I just need you to believe in me. I need your power and your strength, and I need a team of people that are going to help me get out of the hole that I just dug for myself. And on September 13th, I started treatments. In between the 13th and the 15th, I had assembled a team of people. And it's funny how people kind of come back in your life. The radiologist was the guy that used to come to my nightclub all the time, a friend of mine. And he was going to handle my case for me. And people started coming from all different places, nutritionists that happened to say, you know what, I'll take this on. I'm going to do this. And I had an Asian doctor, and all of these people just came to say, what do you need? Because I put it out there, I can't do this on my own. There's no way I can do this on my own. And I need the time. I'm just asking for 2 years, just 2 years. So I had the time to get my daughter through that 16-year-old horrible part of life as a girl, right? So we did that. So every Wednesday I had chemotherapy, and every day I had radiation at 4:15. But here's the thing is, when I went in for chemotherapy, I was put in a separate room because every time I went in, they didn't know if I was going to live through it, so they didn't want other people to see me if I died. Every Wednesday I had a transfusion of blood so that and then I would have my chemotherapy so I could make it through it, and I was drugged. Dilaudid, major heavy drugs, so I wouldn't feel any pain. And here's my thing. Throughout this time, I was thinking to myself, if I could just get to the outside room, then maybe people would stop looking at me with those sad eyes, and maybe they'd start believing that I can live. Because then I started thinking, I'm going to live. I don't know why or how, but I knew at the core of me, I was going to beat this. And it wasn't necessarily because of all the people that stood up to help me, because they had those sad eyes. It's almost like a last-ditch effort, but they didn't believe that anything would happen. And I thought, if I can just make it to the outside room. And then I did. I made it to the outside room. And I was with the other real people having chemotherapy. And then my next objective was, if I could just make it over to the lazy boy. Out of the bed and into the lazy boy. And I did. And then I thought, if I could just make it to the chair, I could sit there like real people. I wouldn't be dying then, would I? I'd be real. And then I did. And that was over a course of many, many months, from August into October, November. In October 18th, I went into the hospital. There was some complications, and on the 21st, I got out of the hospital. And in November, I was back in the hospital. And on the 24th, the worst thing happened. My left kidney got so infected that it had to be removed. And it was not a very good time because my body was already compromised. Two things happened at that point. I had to do that, had to get out of there. Then I had to go in for a 3-day internal radiation treatment at the Cross Cancer again. Like, it was so many things. And this is one of those ones where they take your immune system all the way down, and they they don't know if you're ever going to get out of there. In the meantime, the guy that I was seeing, and see, this, hell in a handbasket, my friends, was seeing somebody else. And I didn't know that, but I kind of wondered why I didn't call the 3 days I was having this treatment. I didn't want anybody else to come, because anybody that came, then that would mean I would have longer time there, and I wanted to get through it as fast as I could. It was kind of like the best part of this, if you can imagine that, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it gave me so much time to just be with me and be with my body, and I know this sounds maybe silly to a lot of you, but just to talk to myself. So, you stormtrooper, you're going to frickin' do this. You know that, right? You're going to walk out that door on the whatever 74th hour. You're going to walk out that door, and you're never going to look back. You're going to just keep on going. And I did. And then on December 27th, I flew to Orlando with a girlfriend, and I didn't really know the results of everything. My cancer was under control, but you don't know the answers to that. I was sicker than a dog. I was this skinny little toothpicky person, white as a ghost, in Florida. Yeah, okay. Imagine that, right? We thought it was going to be our last hurrah. We were going to spend New Year's in Florida and live it up, because I may not get another holiday. I may not see another Christmas or another New Year's. But deep down inside, I knew that I could do this. And yeah, I'm going to end this tonight with, I didn't know the results because I didn't get them before I left. I didn't want them before I left. I knew that there was problems still, but I knew that no matter what anybody said to me forever in my life, that I was going to be the one person that knew the answer. And I was never going to doubt myself ever again. And I was never going to believe the first thing that anybody said to me ever again. And if they faulted me for that, or if somebody got mad at me because they know and I don't, I wasn't going to be offended by that. I was going to stand strong and question and believe totally and fully in myself. So that is the beginning of a story of what changed my life and made me an entirely different person than the person that walked into 1998, that person that walked out of 1999. And yeah, I do like Prince's song, "We're Gonna Party Like It's 19 or 2019, whatever." I did party. And so Linda, we knew this show was going to be different then. And the next week, Linda is also going to be here talking to you because we thought it's so important that don't fight when your back's against the wall. It's the worst feeling in the world. Fight long before then. Get the hell out of your comfort zone because it's killing you. And, yeah, believe in yourself. So that's what I have, Linda.
Marq, I know how incredibly difficult that this show has been for you tonight. And, my heart is just weeping for you right now. And I just want to leave our listeners with just the message that we all, at some point in our lifetimes, must walk through this darkness. We all must be handed something and see what we're truly made of. And so tonight's last words from me aren't going to be the words that you usually anticipate hearing, but instead my words tonight are thank you incredibly much, Marq, for sharing your story openly and, without some of the usual, I'm going to say this, but then I'm going to tell you it's all right. You were very raw. You were very transparent. And I expect myself, as hard as it's going to be, to do the same thing next week. So tune in next week and hear my story. And then after that, Marq and I will pull it all together for you. But understand, there is a darkness that we all walk through, but you can make it through it. And that's our message.
And
good night from Florida.
Good night, Linda, and thank you so very much to everyone listening tonight and who may listen to the replay. And again, I really want to stress this point. You are worth the walk. So thank you, everyone, for spending time with us. Thank you very much.